Val Morgan Digital acknowledges the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land where this podcast is filmed. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I think every time I draft an email, I put an exclamation mark after every sentence and I'll read it back and I'll be like, you sound way too intense.
But when you remove it, the sentence suddenly seems like really intense.
Whoa!
You've clocked into office hours with work besties Sohan and Hameda, helping you survive and thrive between 9 and 5.
We believe in work and play, so get ready to crush your career and live your best life. We have a fun episode today, a little bit different to the other two. We're going to be giving some of our tips on how to navigate work chats, conversations without regrets.
Yes, because we want you to protect yourself, your peace, your paycheck.
Yeah, protect it all. We're going to be talking about communication generally in the workplace, but also like on your work chat, whether that's Slack, Teams, there's probably a bunch of other ones as well.
Yeah. I do feel like the lines have been blurred a lot since we've all started working from home.
Yes.
Because how else are you going to communicate with your colleagues?
Yeah, you're in Slack chatting away. This all reminds me of this one thing that happened with our team. You'll remember this, but because when we were at BuzzFeed, we would use Slack. And I think a lot of like creative workplaces use Slack because it is very like the features on it are very nicely aligned to the creative process.
Yeah.
It's also such like a fun vibe compared to Teams. So Teams is like very corporate. Do you remember when they were like doing a bit of a rehaul of like our communication channels at work?
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we're shutting down Slack and we're moving everyone to Teams because that's what the rest of the business is using.
I do remember this.
And we literally campaigned to keep Slack.
The level of outrage that occurred from this one, it's looking back. Okay, at the time it felt very real and like very like they're taking away our rights.
Yeah, it was not that deep. But,
it was not that deep.
But it is because like in Slack, we had our processes. We had our Slack channels for when something was published, we would put it in that channel. When we were, subbing each other's articles, we would thread it.
Yeah.
And these are like features that are a little bit more difficult and clunky in Teams.
Yeah.
So one of the things we were campaigning for was like, this is essential to our workflow.
Yeah.
Like we need Slack.
Yeah.
And I remember like they forced us to use Teams for like a week and they're like, just try it. Just like give it a go, see how it goes. And we did. Yeah. And we lent in. We were starting like, what is it, like threads and announcements for like, can someone please eyes my article? And it's like a full announcement.
That's so funny.
We had fun with it, but it was really hard.
But really we were just kind of trying to be a little more like outrageous so that they'd be like, okay, you can go back.
And then they did, and they let us go back. And now we have to use both. We use Slack and Teams.
Yeah. And we, obviously the preferred option is Slack, but unfortunately now that most of the business is on Teams, you kind of don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I have such a special bond with Slack. It's
I love it.
Such a great, obviously, okay, be very, very careful using it because, and this whole episode's going to be about this, but your communication on Slack is completely traceable. Everything that you say on there, they will be able to find. So be careful. But as just like a messaging system, it reminds me of Discord. And if you've used Discord, you know how superior it is as a messaging platform. Like I do game, but like I don't use Discord for gaming. I use it as communication.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You can add emojis.
I've never used
Discord. You can create threads.
But I love that.
It's basically the exact same situation.
I love that.
And I think because I was so accustomed to Discord, which is so internet.
Yeah.
Coming in and being like, oh, we communicate through something that's so similar and we are working on stuff for the internet. Like it just aligns with our work and it makes sense for us to be able to communicate that way at work. Yeah. Because it keeps us in the headspace of creativity.
The creativity, it's the creative vibes and it was just so funny because like it was also a great situation because our managers, our senior leaders, they listened to us and they heard us and they were like, look, if it's going to make them happy and keep workflows going, your team can just use Slack,
Yeah.
but you've got to use Teams
Yeah.
as well. And now I'm very much in a good flow of like checking both.
It's
like
at the
fine.
time it was like a little bit,
Yeah.
what is happening? It's too much.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of
it's fine.
second nature.
Yeah. Without further ado, let's get into some of these tips.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say because I feel like you and I going through all the transitions of the different workplaces and teams and environments we've been in, like coming over from BuzzFeed being a startup environment with a small team, and then coming into Val Morgan Digital, which is a much bigger team, much more corporate.
Yep.
We've had to kind of relearn, I think, some things about communication in the workplace, especially when it comes to like Teams and Slack and just chatting to people and all of that.
Yes, I highly agree.
All right. First tip, know when to use email and when to use chat like Teams or Slack or whatever you use. And this literally happened to me this week where I sent like a team-wide update in Slack. And then I was like, wait, some people are on annual leave. Like some people might not see this. So then I also sent an email so that it was official. And then if people need to like reference back, they've got it in their email. They can bookmark it if they need to.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it's a big, like detailed update, use an email. If it's a quick, like, hey, can you send me this? Or hey, just a quick thing, like chat's fine.
Like an update.
Yeah.
Or like a reminder.
Yeah. Sending an email being like, hey, can you send me this photo is so wild.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I mean, not in our workplace, but I feel like in some workplaces it would be.
I actually think it's a thing in our workplace.
Really?
Yeah, but that's because we use separate communication.
Oh, yeah. That's
It's a
another
whole
story.
other thing. Speaking of when to have particular conversations, so email, chat, face-to-face. So when you need to have a tough conversation, you need to be doing that face-to-face if you can't do it in person on a video chat.
Yes.
Because tone is so hard to get across
Yes.
in text.
Yes.
And I say that as a writer. So I do consider myself an expert on tone and tone of voice.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't necessarily mean that the person on the other end reading it is going to interpret it the way that you intended.
Yes.
When the stakes are high in a tough conversation, you don't want there to be any way that could happen. 100%.
This is so real. And this actually goes back to one of my tips, which is like, be aware of passive aggressive punctuation. Like, and because I had a coworker once who, whenever we would talk over Slack or over email, I was like, why are they being so rude? Because they would put like full stops after things.
The full stops are like a very big thing.
I know. And it's also definitely like, I think an age thing as well. So like some people in the workplace, they use full grammar, full capitals, full stops.
Which is not necessary in a chat.
Not necessarily in a chat. But yeah, this specific coworker, I remember I would be like, why are they being so passive aggressive with me? But then when I would talk to them in real life, so fine, so friendly, so helpful. But I think it's also just worth noting, like, on your punctuation and everything. Like, I love adding, like, 20 exclamation marks in an emoji, and sometimes I have to reel it back. I'm like, okay, 1 exclamation mark is fine.
Oh, my God. I do that. Like, I have to unfriendly my messages all the time. I'm like, that's too friendly. Like, it's not going to get the point across. You're being too, like...
You're too intense. Every time I draft an email, I put an exclamation mark after every sentence, and I'll read it back, and I'll be like, you sound way too intense.
But when you remove it, the sentence suddenly seems like really intense.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'll literally go back and be like, okay, exclamation mark after the first sentence. I'll put an emoji here. I'll put a full stop here because this is the serious sentence. And then I'll end with an exclamation mark.
Oh my God, so true. Like distributing the exclamation marks to avoid it being after every single line.
I know.
And then like freaking out because the line that you took the exclamation off of now sounds completely different and kind of scary. Except it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
so I guess this goes two ways, right? Like be aware of your own punctuation, but also don't read too deeply into other people's punctuation.
Yes, which brings me to like my add-on tip.
Yeah.
Which is if you're finding conversations tense between yourself and a member through text, assume it's because they're a bad texter.
Yeah.
So always assume the non-malicious
the
thing.
positive.
Yes.
And I think this is not even a tip that I had, but I'm going to add it in anyway, is take things at face value. don't read into them.
Yes.
Because in my early career, like sometimes when I'd have like a manager or a senior that might be a little bit more serious or like use exclamation, I would sometimes spiral and be like, oh my God, they hate me.
Yeah.
They think I'm really bad at my job.
Yeah.
I'm going to get fired tomorrow. No point. They just asked me to send them a spreadsheet. It's fine.
What's actually interesting is that in the beginning phases of our relationship,
Yeah.
I felt that about you.
What? What, that I hated you?
Yeah. And I had to learn. And it honestly, I think it's a Capricorn thing. I hadn't dealt with a lot of Capricorns in my life. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way that you communicate can come off harsh.
Yeah.
To me.
But you know, see,
in general, I don't think it's harsh.
I've heard this before from
Really?
some people, where people will be like, oh, when I first met you, like I was really intimidated, or like I didn't know if you, but meanwhile I'm over here being like, oh my God, I love this person.
Yes. And I learned that over time. I was like, oh, actually I'm looking way too into this. And actually this is probably what's happening in Sohan's mind. And she's not hyperfixating on this. I just am because of who I am as a person.
And this is the thing, is like, it is a two-way thing, and you got to be mindful of yourself, but also don't read too deeply into what other people are trying to imply through, because they're probably not implying anything.
Yes. And you have to be careful about confronting them as well, because if they are not intending anything and you're like, hey, are you like mad at me? And that happens too many times, you're going to put people off. Like, I'm so sorry, but you will.
Yeah, be wary of that, guys. My next tip is, and this is so real for me right now, but sleep on emotional emails. Like, draft it, get all your thoughts out, close, and maybe don't draft it in Outlook or your email app, because I always get freaked out that I'm going to accidentally press a button and it will send. But draft it in your notes wherever, close it, go to sleep, and the next day read it again. You'll have a fresh mind. Just sleeping on something really can take away like a lot of the unnecessary like emotion to something.
And when you're in a corporate environment, you really want to get the emotion out of the communication, because
it's like not that deep as well. Like a lot of the time I'm like, I actually don't care about this at all.
It's just in the moment.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, we're actually not doing anything that serious.
Yeah.
Like our jobs are kind of like hee ha ha jobs.
Hee hee hoo hoo.
Yeah.
And I think like if you want to go even deeper on this one, it can also kind of be a good self-reflection point of like, why did this make me feel this way? And, you know, for me, sometimes I'll be like, okay, this made me feel a type of way because I felt maybe disrespected and undervalued. Therefore, I feel like my job is being threatened. And then when you put it there, you're like, my job's not being threatened. It's fine. None of this is related to that. Emotion disappears. Goodbye. And sleeping on it can really help with that.
Yeah, I agree, because another tip, if a situation's bothering you, think of all the possible reasons and outcomes.
Yes.
Like, before you actually act, which is so, like, sleeping on it is such a good way to deal with it. But if, for example, it's time sensitive, allow yourself to go through all the scenarios before you land on this person is coming for me.
Yeah.
Because usually they're not. They're either, like, really genuinely just asking a question and not being a, you know, poopy head about it.
Yeah.
What is like a
poopy head is fine.
A poopy head, since I can't curse. But it's oftentimes it's really not that deep. Like, and this is me again speaking from experience with you. It's never that deep.
Not that deep.
It's literally Sohan sending me like one message, and then I'm like, oh my God, this means X, 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 X. And then when I go back to it, I'm like, actually, no, it doesn't. It just means what she wrote.
Yeah. Taking it at face value. And, you know, like this happened to me this week, actually. I drafted a response to a message and it was very like emotional, and it was like kind of like, how do I say this? But it was like, guys, like, let's just remember that we're all on the same team and we all have the same goal. And then I like took a beat, read it again, and I was like, wait, that person wasn't even implying what I thought they were implying. They actually provided me a solution. And for some reason I got really butthurt. And then I just Command A, delete. Thanks so much. You know, like it's just.
And that's such a great response just to have as a default, is that thanks so much, I'll look into this and then think about it.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to discuss that right in the moment.
No, exactly. I remember like back in the day, like quite a few years ago when I was still like new to this business, I would very easily let a work situation affect me more than it should. And I would feel really emotional about it. And I would go to my manager and vent to her in the moment and just be like, oh my God, like this is blah, blah, blah. And luckily my manager at the time was like, amazing and would talk me through it, you know, and help me through it. And that I was really lucky to have that. But, you know, it might not always be that way. And you also don't know like how it could reflect on you in the future if you're always reacting emotionally to things. So just take a beat.
It's self-sabotage at the end of the day. Like you'll end up, more harm will come to you than it will come to them, because essentially at the end of the day, they probably were just like trying to do their job.
Yeah. And I think also like the examples I've given, I've gone back and been like, oh, there actually wasn't a problem here. That doesn't mean that there won't be a problem in certain conversations. And taking a beat can also help you draft an email or a response that's going to be constructive. And I think also just remembering to be, and this is, it always comes into my head, is like solution focused. Like if you're going to make a point, make the point, what's the solution, and what can you bring as potential solutions to the problem as well.
But also on that, being clear about how you're representing yourself, like understanding what that will do for your image. Be selfish about that, because it is your image and it can be tainted. And what you don't want is to end up getting a reputation for being someone who's always just like ready to fight.
Yeah.
Because that's not a fun, like in a team, you don't want that kind of energy. You don't
want that reputation, because then it spreads even if it shouldn't.
So even if you do feel that person was being negative, even after sleeping on it, what's best for you would be to just be like, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you, or whatever you need to do. Make yourself seem like the bigger, better person 100%. In that situation.
And it's okay to feel the way you feel.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go through the emotions. It's a journey. You're going to feel anger. You're going to feel resentment. Then you're going to give up. And then you'll come to some kind of point where you're like, this is actually fine.
100%.
So allow yourself to go through it. And just be mindful of not projecting that in the conversation.
Because you can have a crash out.
Yeah.
You can get really annoyed and frustrated.
Yeah.
Don't then go and communicate how annoyed and frustrated you are with other team members.
Yeah.
Because they could interpret it in a way you might have been misunderstanding, and therefore you're, you know, it's, again, making it seem like you're a bit of a not person.
Team player, yeah.
So if you're having a problem with another team member or a situation, do not get, unless it's a trust, like I'm going to tell you everything, but you're also not on my team.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't actually affect dynamics, because you don't work with the people that I work with.
And like you're going to have people in your workplace who are a safe space for you to vent. And I think that's totally fine. Just don't do it in the chat.
Also know where that can be traceable. Yeah. Like no Teams, no Slack, no emails. Yeah. Do it in your iMessages. Do it on WhatsApp.
Text, phone call, whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, this is very much linked to what we were just talking about. My next tip, I don't even know if it's my go, but I'm doing it anyway. Is if you wouldn't say it in front of your boss, don't put it in writing.
So true.
Like Slack, Teams, email, it can all be pulled up from HR if it ever goes to HR.
Yes.
And it can come back badly.
Slack is literally like an acronym for like search log of all communication and knowledge.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
I don't know if that's the exact words, but it's literally like a log of all communication and knowledge that's like readily available for them to go through. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Because you might think that it's a private conversation.
Like a private chat, even if it's got the little private icon.
Yep.
It's the admin or whoever can still pull it out.
Yep.
I remember like one of the first things someone told me when I started at BuzzFeed was like Slack can be subpoenaed in court. I don't know why that was the thing that people were saying, but it was like they told me, they're like, you know, don't talk things like if you wouldn't say it in front of your boss, if you wouldn't say it in front of your HR person, do not put it in writing.
No. Here's mine. Stay neutral in office politics, even if you have a strong opinion.
Oh, that's hard sometimes.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Because sometimes someone will be doing something blatantly in your face and you know exactly how you feel about it. But again, ranting to random team members or, you know, when it's not like cone of silence vibes, that's going to bite you in the butt.
Yeah.
No matter what, no matter whose side you're on, those people might link up and then be like, you suck, and you're like, I was literally defending you.
Yeah.
Like, you never know what's going to happen.
You never
So
know.
just take the information in, acknowledge it, be like, oh, just neutral.
Stay neutral, offer solutions. I think it's also like okay to acknowledge situations are difficult. It's like, yeah, like that's really hard. Or,
yeah,
like
exactly.
That is such an awful situation. Like, you know, I'm sorry that this is like happening.
Yep.
But
do not then insert yourself into the situation.
Yeah, inserting yourself into a situation. Don't be like, I'll go talk to this person for you. Don't do that. You don't need to. No. You don't need this extra drama in your life.
You're just going to blow things out of proportion.
Yeah.
And that won't be good for you.
Yeah. Keep the chats to your safe space and off the work communication.
Everything.
Everything.
Keep everything off the work communication. Please trust us.
So my next tip is mute notifications outside of work hours. Save your sanity, protect your peace. This is something I remember like learning in my first job, where I worked breakfast hours. So just for context, like I would start work at 4 a.m. and I would finish work at like 12 or 1 p.m. So because of that, and I lived at my parents' at the time, so it was a bit of a longer commute in, I would have to wake up like just before 3 a.m. to get to the office.
That's when I go to bed.
That's wild.
Oftentimes later.
That's wild. You're such a night owl. I'm like in bed by 8 p.m. these days. But back in these days, I would have to like go to sleep at 6 p.m. so I could wake up at that time. And then, you know, because I finished at 12 or 1, the office people were still talking and I was still getting emails between 1 and 5 or whatever. And the notifications were coming up on my phone. And I remember I was like watching a movie with my husband, then boyfriend, and my phone was just lighting up every 2 seconds. This was probably at like 4 p.m. or something. And the phone was lighting up and he was like, turn your phone off. Like, we're having a date. Like, please, like, put that away. And I was so, like, it was my first job, so I was really keen and excited about work, so I kind of wanted to see. But I felt very nervous about turning off the notifications, but it was such a blessing. And now I'm very, like, good at that, I feel. Like, I try not to, I mean, you know, sometimes into 6 p.m. or whatever, or like 8 a.m., fine. But just make sure you're not getting notifications. Like,
wait, so are you manually going in and turning off notifications every single day?
No, you can set the timings for notifications in the app on your phone. So on Slack, you can, and on Teams, you can be like, don't notify me after X hours.
I actually didn't know that was
an option. Do that.
That's, you guys should do that.
Everyone do that now.
I'm not going to do that.
Get on your phone, change your settings.
FOMO.
No, but you should know. This is what I mean, Hameda.
My entire life, I've kept my notifications on for Slack, for Teams. Not emails, because we get so many emails. But I did recently turn them off because I think it was on my famil recently and I just couldn't do it. And they've been off. But I find that when my notifications are off, my instincts immediately go to opening each app. It doesn't matter if it's 9 p.m.
That's okay. That will happen.
It doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m. First thing I do in the morning is check emails, messages, like still in bed. It's like, part of my social media, like update check-in. I
mean, look, everyone's different. And it is hard because you do get FOMO. But where I find it makes the most impact is like, if it's been a really busy day or it's like, you know, my mind's running and it takes me a while to like calm down at the end of the day and like settle and like actually be able to rest.
Yeah.
If a notification pops up, it will just send me spiraling again and I won't be able to rest.
I'd like to make this clear. Yeah. I'm not advocating to do what I do. This is one of my red flags. Okay. Like, I don't want to be doing this because I do the same thing. If I read an update or an email that's like about something that I have to action or something that I'm involved in, I will hyperfixate on it for like the next 12 hours until I can action something.
Yes.
Like I can't, or I'll do it immediately because I know I won't be able to think about anything else. I put myself in those situations because I'm going and checking things, even though I'm not getting notified.
No.
And I have to be like, don't read that. Don't like I literally tell myself.
You're thinking about not reading it.
And then I do.
Just turn the notification off. Just turn it off.
Yes.
You can deal with it. And if it's urgent, if it's really, really urgent, your manager or someone will text you. And that's what I say, like, to my team. I'm like, look, if you need me urgently and I'm off, text me. I'm not going to be checking Slack or emails or whatever.
Well, that's really healthy.
Well, yeah, thank you to my husband who forced me to do that when I was like 20.
And also produce the music for this podcast.
Love that.
Okay. I love that. That's such a great tip. I'm going to try to take that on board myself, actually.
Yes. Go.
There's power in silence. And I don't just mean silencing your notifications.
Oh.
Segue.
Yeah.
You learn so much more about people and situations when you don't speak because you're listening. I can't tell you how beneficial It has been to my entire existence in the career that I'm in, but also just in my general life. And in fact, so many people think I'm shy when they first meet me.
Yes.
Because they assume that I'm not talking to them because I'm like...
Because you're shy.
Meanwhile, I'm assessing the situation. Okay. I'm letting them speak so that I know how much of myself I want to give to them. I will make a full analysis of a person and their personality before I actually decide whether or not I'm going to contribute and like show them that side.
Wow.
And it's the same thing at work.
Yeah.
You being silent and observing and learning from the people around you, even with like the friendship dynamics and stuff, can really save you from saying something wrong, doing something wrong, rubbing someone the wrong way.
Yeah.
And trust me, having a reputation of being someone who is really thoughtful and like thinks before acting. Yeah. That's what people really value in a workplace. Yeah. They don't want someone who's just constantly going to be talking over them, talking over the actual opinions and facts. But being silent, oh my God. Silence is like my favorite superpower.
Literally, as you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't talk over you. Because this is big advice for me. Because I yap. And I very much like...
Which I love.
Talk. And like, I actually struggle to be silent. So this is something I need to take on.
I befriend yappers so that I can stay silent.
Oh my God, that's why we're such good work friends.
Yeah, because when we go to events, I can trust that Sohan's going to be speaking to everyone and I can observe their reactions to what she's saying.
Oh my God.
And then I can be like, do I care enough to talk to you or do I want to just...
And then we debrief afterwards. And
There's always a debrief.
If
you meet us, just know there's going to be a debrief.
That's a really good point. Like really listening and like listening to absorb the information as opposed to listening to respond as well.
Yep.
That's a really good tip.
That's the main side of it. And then the other side of that coin is that if something is going down in your workplace, staying silent can be the difference between you being an innocent bystander and you being involved.
Oh.
If you are just silent and listening and observing and you know what's happening, no one is going to pull you up for that. But if you start actually contributing to the situation by speaking, you just don't want to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, that's such a good tip. I love it. Really great.
Suddenly everyone's silent.
Yeah, I'm literally like, I will stop talking now. Enjoy the podcast, everyone. Okay, my next tip is use we more than you in tricky situations when you're like talking or texting or whatever. It sounds much less accusatory and it like helps with like, we're on a team. Like, and we always say on our team, what do we say? One team, one dream, one direction. Oh, I love it so much. It's so silly and fun. But yeah, like, for example, like, oh, we missed this deadline sounds so much better than you missed this deadline.
Yeah, that one is like, empathetic.
Yeah.
One is accusatory.
It's like, we're on the same team. We missed this deadline. What are we going to do like to help us get it over the line next time? It just sounds better. Yeah. Creates like a more friendly environment.
I 100% agree. And it can be applied to so many different situations and contexts.
Yeah, even in your personal life. I guess. Actually, does it work? I don't know.
We need to work on not being late to things.
Wait, that sounds so like...
Okay. Oof. This is another one. This is one that's tough for me, again, to do myself. But it's something that I very strongly believe in. And I think there are times when I've had to catch myself, to keep myself from doing this. But there's nothing wrong with speaking up for what you believe in. However, know when doing so will cause more harm than good. Because, especially, and we talk about this, the transition from a more startup, everyone's very young, on the internet, chronically online, very aware of like certain climates and things. Yeah. Corporate spaces, not so much. And that's just, it's a product of an environment and like a lack of education, and it's, fine. Yeah. Not fine, but you get what I'm saying. However, you preaching to someone about like something could potentially be detrimental rather than helping you and the situation. Yes. Because what you don't want is to call someone out and make them feel really horrible, or like then just cause a whole other issue. Yeah. Instead of maybe they misspoke. Maybe they weren't aware. Because like a lot of the times if you correct someone in private, they will be like, oh my God, I had no idea. Yeah. They just don't know.
What's an example of like speaking up for something you believe in where it's not the right time?
For example, like being thin.
Okay.
This is something that our culture is obviously ingrained in us since we were born. We've been faced with it so many times. They might make an offhand comment that they wouldn't recognize as detrimental to someone or like triggering.
Yes.
Because they haven't been in that position.
Yeah.
They haven't like read that article that, you know, not everyone is going to know everything you know, and that's just being a human.
Yeah.
So maybe don't call them out
in front
of everyone and make it like a huge thing.
Yes.
Obviously, it's important for them to be aware.
Yeah.
And, you know, I usually will do a quick 360 to see if anyone has actually felt the impact of a statement, and then I can speak to them and make sure they're okay. And then I will find a later time when it feels like the energy's okay between me and a coworker. Again, this is like work.
Yes.
When it's personal, I don't care. I'm calling someone out in the middle of a party. Like, I don't care. But in an office, it's probably better to have that conversation one-on-one away from everyone because they're going to hear you more away from the situation than they would when they feel like they're being attacked.
Yeah, in front of everyone as well. Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like in the example you gave, like the other thing that I'm thinking of is, does this person do this all the time or is it like a one-off? Because if it's a one-off, sometimes, you know, it can be triggering, and obviously I'm going to recognize that. But like you said, you don't want it to then come back on you as bullying the other person by like, and I'm not saying that's what's happening,
but that's how unfortunately HR might see it.
Yes.
They'll be like, oh, they just made this comment and it actually doesn't mean anything and you just took it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I would do in that situation is, if it was something that was like happening regularly, is I would chat to my manager and be like, hey, I feel like we might need some kind of training or some kind of education for the team just so everyone is across like,
especially when it's clearly a cultural thing.
Yeah.
When people are like jumping in and like adding. You're like, what's happening?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I love it. Okay, my next one is, this is just a quick one, but always assume a message can be forwarded, because sometimes it is forwarded.
Yes.
Always assume. Someone's screenshotting and sending that in a text message. Even if like it's just assume, and this also comes back to like, if you wouldn't say it in front of your boss, don't put it in writing. Like, yeah, be very careful about that.
Yes. Yeah, because people do.
Just,
Not me.
No.
I will keep the emails in my inbox so that I can search them if I need them later. However...
Best of luck with Outlook for that one, because searching an Outlook is a bloody nightmare.
I don't want to... But that's a whole other episode. But it's so true that... and I will avoid putting things in writing. If someone is messaging me about a situation and I'm like, oh, I don't want to put this in writing, I will genuinely get on my phone and call them up or leave a voice message or just wait until I can talk to them in person and be like, here's what the situation is about. Yeah. Here's why I didn't reply on Teams. Yeah. 100%. All the time. I do that probably once a day.
Yeah, you got to know. And this also comes back, like, know when it's IRL, and I'll
type
email.
It. Yeah. I'll type it and then be like, delete.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like that.
If this is forwarded, I'm in trouble.
Yes.
Delete.
Yes, exactly.
Great one.
Acknowledge when another person might not be communicating their intentions properly and give them grace.
Oh,
because
so good.
People are really bad communicators sometimes. And that's, you know, maybe it depends on their job, because like sometimes, maybe that's not a good idea, because if they're in HR, like, work on your communication skills. But if it's like just someone on your team and they say something, and I feel like we've just discussed this in the past, oftentimes they don't mean the way they sound.
Yes.
Just like the punctuation.
Yes.
They will...
I think it's like the offering grace thing is that you're saying.
Yes.
It's like, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Just be like, you know, assume positively.
Well, there's this saying that I love and I always misquote.
Okay.
Don't like give someone the benefit of assuming that they're being malicious when they're just being incompetent. Because it takes a lot more effort to be malicious.
Yeah.
And a lot more calculating and things like that. And usually that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to create a whole scenario in your mind. Like, this is what they thought, and then they thought this, and then they saw this, and then they said this, and that's why they're doing this. Meanwhile, the person has like literally never thought of that in their life, and it's just like sending you some random thing that you've created a whole plot about. Yeah. And like now are basing your interactions with this person on this thing that they have no idea what's happening.
It's self-sabotage. It's just going to make your life harder.
Yeah. And it's like, why would you do that when ignorance is bliss?
Use status updates to your benefit. This is like a random one, like not essential, but I love it. Like, you know how on Slack you can set an emoji and like say what you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, for example, when we're deep in edits, like sometimes the team will put like a little movie emoji and like editing.
Oh, that's
and
so
that's
cute.
really useful because it's like if you're messaging them and wondering why they're not replying, they could be deep in the zone. And I think that can just be really beneficial for like other people also interacting with you and like not assuming that you're like not at your desk and stuff like that.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's really smart and a great way to, I mean, I honestly use statuses just as like silly, goofy.
Yeah, and it's also fun.
I'm pretty sure my status right now on Slack is like Taylor's version.
Yeah.
Which isn't telling anyone what I'm doing.
It's been like that for a very long time.
Well, since you started, we're recording.
Yeah.
But
it depends on what thing you use as well, because on Teams, like maybe you put it in your Outlook calendar, people know you're away.
Yeah.
But it's just like a little helpful thing.
It's really cute. And I love, because now that you're saying it, I have seen the little like sick emojis when people are like off because they're sick. And it's like such an instant like, oh, that person's
off sick. I won't message them with questions so that they can rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So my last tip is be careful with friend channels, like on Slack, or if it's at work and it's using a work team, it's still work. Even if it's like got the little privacy emoji, like don't make like a bestie girlies like channel just for you and your work friends because it's not private and it could still get pulled up. And you know, just make the chat on Instagram DMs or on text if you want to have that space.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you'll probably feel more free to communicate there.
It's so true, and it's easy to send memes.
Yeah.
But that's so funny because it actually reminds me of a thing that happened to you and I.
Yeah.
Basically when we were earlier days. Actually, this is probably before we were even really friends.
Yeah.
We created a group chat on Slack.
Did we?
We did. You, me, and one other teammate.
Okay.
And I don't know if we hadn't set it to private or what. It was literally just like girlies vibes because, you know, we were all from like Asia. So we were like, woohoo.
Oh my God, I remember.
And then like a week later, we go into the chat, or at least I go into the chat, and some other person has joined from like the US.
Oh my God, I remember this. No, we can say what it was.
Okay.
It was like brown girls or something.
Yeah, it was literally like brown girl. Yeah.
Brown girls. And it was like the brown girls in our office. And then, a brown girl from like the US joined.
Which they must have just like searched it up or like, I don't know how
no,
they
because
even
for
found
context, on Slack at BuzzFeed, there were like chat rooms for, there was one called Cat Appreciation.
Yeah.
And everyone would just send photos of their cats and it was so fun. So we were like, let's make one
for us. Yeah.
But we didn't set it to private and we didn't specify it was Australia. And so I think we just like stopped using it.
We immediately, as soon as we saw there was another person in there. Also, this person did not acknowledge that they had joined. They were just suddenly in the chat. We just saw the members.
Like someone has joined the chat.
And then we were like, who was that?
Oh my God. I feel bad that we just stopped talking like.
But why would you not introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, if you thought it was like cat appreciation.
Yeah, you'd be like, hey guys, I'm also this, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it was literally, there was no context.
No.
We were just like, all of a sudden, someone else is in this chat. And I don't even know if she could read what we'd written before.
No.
Not that there was anything in there.
No, there was nothing. Yeah.
But just remember that people probably can access your chat.
Just avoid like, you know, especially if it's like friend based, like keep it off the work chat.
You don't need that on your work chat.
Yeah.
I know it's probably easier, but like just, you can't be free and authentic. And what's the point of friendship if you're not being free and authentic?
Yeah, exactly. And you got to keep things professional when you're at work.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this one. Hopefully those tips were useful for you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Remember to clock in next week.
Yeah. Office Hours with Sohan and Hameda is a Val Morgan Digital production and part of the BuzzFeed Australia network. Have a question or topic you want us to cover or a workplace dilemma you want us to unpack? Send us a DM on Instagram at officehoursbf or drop us an email on officehours@valmorgan.com.au.
For more, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at officehoursbf. You can follow Sohan on socials at Sohan Judge and follow Hameda on socials at It's Hameda.
Our music is by Jasic. Make sure to hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss an episode. And if you like what you hear, please rate us 5 stars and tell your friends to clock in.